Krzyzewskiville is prepared for every ACC rivalry, but there is always something special about this one. Every Gary Williams team echoes his drive and intensity, and with Gravis Vasquez as their on-the-court leader, emotions should rule the day. Welcome to college basketball on ESPN, presented by 5 Hour Energy and part of ESPNU's Campus Connection Week. We're at Cameron Indoor Stadium in Durham, North Carolina for the ACC. Maryland against number 2 Duke. The Blue Devils, the only undefeated team remaining in the ACC. They are number 2 in the national standings and the presumptive number 1 when the new poll comes out. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick, Len Elmore. It's great to have you with us. Maryland comes in here. Nothing gets the juices flowing at Duke like a Terps visit.
Well, since 2001, this has been an absolute terrific rivalry. But think about since the 99-2000 season, only Carolina and Maryland have come in here to Cameron and win 4 games out of 9. To put that in perspective, only 3 other ACC teams have even won 1 game. This type of rivalry is characterized by upsets, by drama, come-from-behind wins, and certainly by some smack talk.
Who's your star watch today?
Well, Exhibit A in the smack talk category, Gravis Vasquez says before this game, this is his house, leads the Terps in 12 different categories, and Gerald Henderson will have something to say about that. Last 4 games, he's been outstanding.
Let's take a look at the lineups first for Maryland. The Terps come in at 13-5. 2-2 in the ACC. And Duke 17-1. They are undefeated in the conference. John Shire in a little bit of a shooting slump right now. And we are set to go. Duke in the home white. And you see Maryland's success coming into this building. They would rather beat Duke than anybody.
Well, this is one of those games where Maryland is going to have to play solid defense and certainly find ways to get easy baskets since they struggle from the field.
Zubek, and when he scores, that's a bonus, isn't it?
Well, it is, but that's where the advantage is. Maryland's a small team. They start literally 4 guards and Dave Neal. So Duke right away going to their advantage.
And Neal, who has some range on his shot at 37%, knocks down a 3.
Well, that's the way Maryland's going to neutralize that advantage, have Dave Neal step outside. Maryland's got to get good spacing offensively. Make Duke come and play him and then try to beat him off the bounce and look for mid-range shots.
Very similar kind of offense as Milbourne goes into the middle, has it blocked again. Landed Milbourne at 6'7", stuffed 2 shots in a row.
Well, excellent defense by Duke inside. They're not going to give you layups. They'll take charges and block some shots.
Henderson backing in on Vasquez. Good physical matchup there. Shire for 3. John Shire only shooting 36% from the outside, but he's got to heat up eventually. Hayes. And the rebound to Zubek.
And here's where Duke is at its best in transition. They'll spread the floor, look for the threes.
Shire 2 for 2. Got to find the shooters on the break.
Yeah, you can't pack it in the paint against Duke because they're so adept at penetrating and kicking and knocking down the threes.
Bowie says you got to come to me on the press. Gary Williams, the all-time wins leader at the University of Maryland, has that national championship to his credit in 2002. Compares this team to that team an awful lot. He says he likes the way this team hustles, likes the way this team plays. Didn't like that as Zubek draws the charge. Mike Krzyzewski, 747 wins at Duke.
Well, that last possession by Maryland is a perfect example of how Duke doesn't give you layups. You got to pull up and hit the mid-range. Many times you're not going to be able to drive all the way. Very good at taking
Shire for his third in a row. No. Good job by Hayes to block Smith off the loose ball.
Well, actually, I believe that if Hayes has a chance to get possession, you do it because the athleticism of Nolan Smith.
He almost got hit with it.
Right, came very close to knocking it down, and Hayes had a chance to grab it earlier. If you can grab it, take it.
Bowie beats the press. Zubak the only man back, and Zubak gets the block. How about that?
Yeah, how about a little bit of selfishness by Adrian Bowie? Two guys running with him. Could have drawn Zubak and given it up. Instead, he paid the price. Again, Zubak, nice job on defense.
Oh, nice pass by Zubak to the cutting Henderson.
Big fella slam.
Wins for the big guy.
That's right, improved play in the post.
Great start for Duke.
Well, against Duke, you got to play as a team, and Adrian Bowie playing well, but this time he missed it. Right here, he gets Zubak to commit. He's got a streaking guy there. You got to be able to hit him with the bounce pass. That's an easy layup. Instead, he challenges the big fella, and the big fella's up to it.
Boy, that's pretty good footwork for a 7-footer defending a 2-on-1 fast break. Nolan Smith running the point. Henderson travels.
But again, with Maryland as small as they are on the defense, a switch off, there was a mismatch. Zubak had Gravis Vasquez guarding him. And if Duke starts to recognize that, it's going to be a big night, a big afternoon for Brian Zubak.
Maryland needs to get Vasquez some touches. Hasn't had his hands on the ball on this end of the court.
Well, you credit Gerald Henderson with that.
Shire with the steal. The foul on Eric Hayes as he stops the fast break but picks up the personal.
And you got hit the nail on the head, Mike. You got to either kick it out of bounds if you're going to turn it over in the open floor, live ball situation, or foul, because you don't want Duke to get that running start. Excellent in transition. And Maryland struggles so much from the field, they can't afford to be giving up easy baskets.
3-on-2 off the inbound. Shire missed it. Zubak is there for the follow. Boy, is he having a nice start to the game. You never know. You might look back at the first 5 minutes of this game and say it's a coming out party for Zubak. Neal trying to drive and loses the ball. Maryland, its own worst enemy right now. Henderson slices in, a little bit out of control. Here comes Vasquez. Well, you know he was going to take the shot, missed it. Yeah, he touched it, and he wasn't about to give it up.
That's frustration right there. Having had his hands around the ball a little bit, he feels like he's got to do it by himself. Yep. You're not able to do that, not on this level.
Singler goes down the lane. No, but Zubak is there, had it knocked away. And here comes Bowie from Maryland.
But Zubak getting his hands on a lot of offensive rebound opportunities.
Hayes coming off his first double-double. No turnovers against Virginia, but that is the 5th turnover early. And there's a tie-up as Milbourne gets the advantage on the jump, and the possession arrow will give it to Maryland. When we come back, we have an ESPNU Campus Connection sideline reporter who knows Cameron Indoor like none other. Duke with an early 12-3 lead over Maryland. Back in the day, Abby Wayner was one of the great high school players, the National Player of the Year selected by Gatorade. Since then, she has become a star at Duke, and she is going to be our sideline reporter during ESPNU Campus Connection Week. Abby, welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks, Mike, so much for having me. You make it sound like back in the day was so long ago. But I recently spoke with Gerald Henderson about why he feels he's playing so much better as of lately. He says nothing in particular that has clicked, but instead he says that he's in the best shape of his life. He says that instead of just making a few spectacular plays that are few and far between, he feels as if though he's just playing more stronger on a consistent basis.
And he has been on fire, Abby. 22 points a game his last 4 games. who just really become a star for this team. Lance Thomas has checked in for the first time for Duke. He's number 42. Vasquez having trouble getting the ball. Outstanding defense by Singler.
Well, Maryland 5 turnovers in almost less than 5 minutes. They're not even getting shots, although they get a wide open jumper there. But in their losses, their worst enemy has been shooting from the field, averaging 37% from the field, 21% from 3 in those 5 losses. Here, they can barely get shots.
Singler with a reverse, got it back. Thomas, and Duke has missed some point blank opportunities. Otherwise, they'd be up more than 9.
But what they've been doing, they've really been crowding the ball handler in the paint, getting a lot of guys around him. That time, Vasquez does a much better job of creating for himself, recognizing that Maryland's not a great outside shooting team. That Duke's trying to take away the higher percentage shots.
McClure in for the first time. Vasquez gets his first bucket. He leads them in scoring, rebounding, and assists. He is having a magnificent year.
Well, we talked about what Brian Zubek has done. Lance Thomas comes in, takes his place, and right away gets excellent position down low. And again, because Maryland is so small, you got Dave Neal, a guy who's more of a swing player, having to really guard pivot players.
More college basketball tonight at 7 Eastern. A Big East battle. Number 3 UConn takes on number 19 Notre Dame in that long home win streak. Saturday night prime time presented by DirecTV, part of ESPNU's Campus Connection.
And speaking of smack talking, a team to beat from Connecticut before the season.
Yeah.
And ESPN the magazine didn't give Luke Harangody a whole lot of respect. And I know the first time they met last year, to beat with a lot of block shots, but Harangody, the reigning Big East Player of the Year, I got a feeling he's got a different mindset when they come into this game tonight.
You just wonder what guys are thinking.
Yep, there it is. Tyler Hansbrough, he brought him into the mix too. You know, it's not smack when you can back it up. Hope the beat's ready to prove his words.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be yanking on Hansbrough, would you?
Hansbrough or Harangody, two are pretty similar players. Hard-nosed, persevering kind of guys.
McClure, an outstanding defensive player, is on Vasquez right now, who backs out and takes the 3. Good offensive rebound to Mosley, who's in for the first time.
And speaking of hard-nosed, Sean Mosley, one of those guys that's a tough swing player, can play shooting guard, a little small forward. He'll go get it for you.
Maryland Player of the Year a season ago. Zubek, very patient. Neal went down, trying to draw the charge, but Zubek already with a half dozen points.
And your characterization, patience, is exactly what it is. Zubek knows he's the biggest guy on the floor, and that if he has patience, gets people off balance, no way they can stop him.
Nice drive by Vasquez. They didn't take the baseline away from him, and he took advantage of it. Paulus is in at the point. Speaking of smack, Vasquez can do smack with the best of them. He is walking bulletin board material.
Yeah, but as I said, if you can back it up, he's averaging in Cameron about 19 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists from the 2 times he's been here.
McClure missed everything from point-blank range, and Vasquez earlier said that this is his house. He loves being here.
And quite honestly, I thought that his housemates, the Crazies, would have been on him a little bit harder, but I got a feeling they have a little trepidation as well. They know what his numbers are, so they're going to wait before they really get on him. Plus, they haven't had a chance because Duke's done such a good job of keeping the ball out of his hands.
Milborn has some range. Henderson with a rebound. Duke's lead has been trimmed to 6. Paulus started out shooting so poorly this year and has gotten much better. His confidence starting to grow. Thomas with a rare bucket.
From the outside, no less.
That was his first 3 of the season. Scouting report will obviously say let him have that one. And probably let him have the next 3 or 4. I'm going to look to double team Vasquez every time. Nice rebound to Mosley. Lost it on the way up. Here comes Paulus. 2-on-1. Paulus with the lob, and nice defense by Vasquez. Paulus short on the three. Got it back.
Well, on that last trip down, Gary Williams thought that Mosley got manhandled underneath. Really giving the officials a lot of his opinion, if nothing else. And you watch for that because Gary has a way of getting under their skin.
Thomas, too strong. Zubak kept it alive.
Yeah, and that's Maryland's weak point right there, and the inability to compete on the boards consistently because they're so small. Even with Braxton Dupree in there, 6'8" sophomore who hasn't really played up to his capability, Maryland's still undersized.
Paulus got it. Every bucket he makes is huge for his confidence. His shooting percentage just getting better and better as the season rolls along. And that's huge for them coming off the bench. Foul on McClure. We've got a timeout. 10:42 to go first half. 19-9.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5 Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
ESPNU's Campus Connection Week brings you campus life through the eyes and voice of the students and brings you, the fan, closer to the on-campus atmosphere while giving student participants the opportunity to gain invaluable professional experience.
Well, we have eyes everywhere as our cameras are embedded among the crazies. And you take a look there, the man in the white shirt is Joe Harrington, assistant coach for Maryland. And the reason he's standing there is because the last time Maryland visited Duke, Gravis Vasquez and the crazies kind of got into a little shouting match or a little exchange of opinion. And now Joe is essentially being a security guard. Vasquez kind of like a rock star right now. Needs a little bit of intervention.
Vasquez has also gotten into it with the Maryland fans at the Comcast Center. He'll get into it with anybody.
He's a verbose young man, so he doesn't mind talking.
Milbourne isolated on Thomas. Got the roll.
Well, there, a little bit of a mismatch when Milbourne turns and faces Thomas. His quickness gets him where he needs to be, and a nice use of a hook. Kind of neutralize Thomas's length on defense.
Henderson rolls into the lane as Duke always does such a good job of spreading the court and getting space to operate.
Yeah, that's just a nice job. Quick first step by Gerald Henderson.
Hayes. Maryland doing a good job of spreading the court on its end, but they can't convert. Shire, good first step, gets him to the baseline, and an offensive foul on Shire.
And who's right there? Gravis Vasquez recognizing the play, taking the path away.
Oh, we always ask what's it like to play here, and Abby Weiner is somebody who spent a lot of her career on this court. Abby?
Well, Cameron's a really special place to play, and you guys mentioned how Gravis Vasquez has been anything but quiet before this game. Well, the women's equivalent to that could probably be Ivory Lotta of down the road at North Carolina. When we were playing here a couple years ago, she signed one of our benches with a Sharpie, and needless to say, we didn't take too kindly to that either.
Well, she was not a shrinking violet, was she?
Not at all.
Vasquez with Nolan Smith on him. And lost his dribble. Now a tie-up. Seventh turnover for Maryland. Numbers on Abby Weiner. 9.1 points a game, 3.8 assists.
Team player, and glad she's on our team today.
Absolutely. Maryland going with pressure. Dino Gregory is in for the first time. He's number 33. Maryland will play about 8 or 9 men a game.
But it still comes down to a couple of guys, and Gravis Vasquez and Adrian Bowie, who really are the guys who put points on the board for Maryland. Maybe Eric Hayes can be that reliable third scorer. The other guys are there to play roles, to play defense.
Boy, good defense there by Bowie. Shire got caught up in the air. Shot clock down to 5. Smith. Singler with a long rebound, but he walked after he got the ball.
But nevertheless, it's demonstrating Maryland's deficiency on the boards. They're only +1 in rebound margin on the season. And again, when you go small, you got to recognize when long shots are taken or mid-range shots are taken, they're coming into the paint. Long shots are going to come long. And they've got to play almost a horizontal game as far as rebound is concerned instead of the vertical game. That means block out and go get it as opposed to out-jump your opponent.
Singler with Vasquez back. When Duke gets those run-out baskets, look out. And Shire nearly got a steal there, but he was out of bounds. The NBA on ABC continues tomorrow afternoon. We've got a doubleheader for you. Coverage starts at 12:30 with the GMC NBA countdown. 1 o'clock Mavericks Celtics, 3:30 the Spurs and the Lakers. The NBA on ABC. Duke with a 12-point lead. They have dominated this first half. Gregory almost had his pocket pick.
Look how far Duke has forced Maryland's offense out. It's the first time they've crossed the three-point line, stepped on the baseline.
Vasquez got away with a push-off, but not going out of bounds.
I think Maryland's got to be more assertive. They have some opportunities now to go to the basket, to split some of the doubles, but instead they keep backing up. It's almost like they're afraid to turn it over instead of making sure that they don't turn it over.
Well, being afraid to turn it over obviously leads to turnovers. That's 8. You can't play scared, can you?
No, you can't, and that's what Maryland seems to be doing in this half. And that's so uncharacteristic of the Terps, particularly when they're led by Gravis Vasquez.
McClure, who is not an offensive threat. You'll see a lot of teams back away from him. Singler, a very poor shot, fires up an air ball from 3. 7:41 to go first half. Duke by a dozen. Duke with a 12-point lead. Let's take you inside the play, Lenny Elmore.
Well, prior to the break, I was talking about Maryland's passiveness against the Duke pressure. Here's a prime example where you're afraid to break the pressure. You see Bowie right there. He's got a chance to split it or go around it. Instead, he dribbles back here into the corner where you get yourself in all kinds of trouble. And you take a look there. I don't know what you're going to do with the ball when you dribble back into that corner. Instead, he's got to be able to attack. And you see Gary right there trying to get his guys to be more aggressive going to the basket to attack.
Duke dominating the rebounding stats right now, 14-8 over Maryland.
Keeping the ball in the middle now is taking away the double team.
Neal fouled by Elliott Williams, who just checked in and picked up his first personal foul, the freshman from Memphis, Tennessee. And points off of turnovers. Duke only with 6.
Well, Maryland's done a nice job of not turning it over too much in a live ball situation in the open floor.
Neal with a runner from the baseline. McClure with a rebound.
But they'd have to find ways to manufacture points. Duke getting the easy points in transition in the secondary break, and Maryland struggling on the offensive end.
Foul on Dino Gregory, his first.
See Gerald Henderson over in the left of your screen. He's going to come around the screen right here looking for the lob. Had a chance to get it, but nice job by Mosley to take away the basket.
Singler kicks it back to Henderson. Now up to Smith. Cuts down the lane, had it blocked from behind, got it back somehow. Shot clock down to 9, and they stepped out of bounds. So a wasted possession for Duke, and good defense by Maryland. Glad you could join us for the ACC this afternoon, where Duke, with a quick burst, got on top of Maryland and has held the Terps down ever since.
You see that stat right there, Maryland and Carolina, since the 99-2000 season, only two teams that have won 4 out of 9 here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. 3 other teams have won 1.
Shire on the run, contact, no call. Singler with a follow, Singler with another follow. Foul was on Cliff Tucker, his first, and Singler will go to the free throw line.
Kyle Singler averaging 3 offensive rebounds a game, just doing a tremendous job on the weak side. And Duke with 8 offensive rebounds. That combined with the turnovers have given them a tremendous number of extra opportunities. And that's really hurt Maryland. Maryland doing a pretty good job defensively. But when you combine the extra opportunities with their inefficiency on the offensive end, that's why they're in this hole, and they're digging themselves deeper and deeper.
Maryland's last basket came at the 10:34 mark. So more than 4 minutes without one. Vasquez had to pick up his dribble. Singler all over him, forces a bad pass. They lost it out of bounds, but last touched by Duke.
Again, Adrian Bowie, a pretty good scorer, may not have enough confidence in his ball handling. So anxious to get the ball back to Vasquez, almost created another turnover. Maryland backcourt, you got 4 guards. They have to be confident enough to handle it themselves.
Vasquez wide open for 3 and bricked it. And you would think with the 4 guards you'd be able to handle the ball better.
But I don't think beyond Gravis Vasquez, I don't think the other guards have enough confidence against this Duke pressure. You got to be strong with it. You got to be confident.
And Hayes certainly isn't getting many touches. Singler slashes down the lane. Good defense by Milborn. Singler got it back, put it up, and draws the foul. And Milborn will pick up the personal, his first.
Again, another offensive rebound.
And Duke is really a better rebounding team than they look when you check the numbers out. Almost 10 rebounds a game better than their opponent, which is the best they have done in many, many years.
Yeah, well, they make a conscious effort. If you're not on the perimeter, you're ringing the perimeter, you see guys raise up for a shot. Instead of watching the arc of the ball, you watch the Duke players, they're fighting for position down low. And they recognize they have to because they haven't been a good rebounding team.
And outside of Zubek, they don't have any size. They're not big at all. Gary Williams wants a timeout at the 5:41 mark. His team is now down by 16 points.
Well, we always talk about the emotion of Gary Williams. And you can take a look right here. It's almost a Harlequin spectrum of emotion. Quite a difference from when he walked out and the game began. One thing you'll never have to worry about, what's on his mind. You'll never have to guess. And that's the great thing about him. And I think his players really appreciate that.
Bowie will bring it up. Maryland has scored just 11 points.
And as you see right now, relegated to just the perimeter. No penetration, although got one there.
Hayes? No. When you get those wide open looks, if you're playing somebody like Duke, those are the shots you better make.
Well, again, Duke closing off the middle, doubling and tripling the penetrator.
Singler buries it. He has 9.
Well, doubling and tripling the penetrator, they're going to give Maryland a wide open 3. Maryland only shooting 32% from beyond the arc. And as I said, with that kind of pressure and rushing and now in the hole, that percentage gets even less.
Neal with a little spin. Nice move in the lane for the bucket. 30-13. Against Paulus. Henderson wide open. Got it.
Boy, you talk about improved from beyond the arc. Coming into today in conference play, Gerald Henderson was 6 of 8 from 3. And he's knocked down a couple today to add to that.
More college basketball comes your way, 7 Eastern tonight on ESPN. Number 3 UConn, number 19 Notre Dame. Saturday night prime time presented by DirecTV, part of ESPNU's Campus Connection. We'll see what the beat has to say during the game. Shire trying to draw contact and no call. Thomas with a follow, missed it. Zubek got it, and he's fouled.
You know, I'm just appalled at the lack of blocking out by Maryland. When you're that small, you've got to be attuned to the fundamentals. You got to put a body on someone. Too many easy offensive rebounds by Duke, and it's killing the Terps. When
we come back, we pay tribute to one of the best in all of college basketball.
Dorian Oke in studio. Coming up on the UPS Halftime Report, we take a look back at the life and career of Hall of Famer Kay Yow as the basketball world mourns her passing Saturday morning. Tom Brennan joins me at the break. Back to you.
We were all saddened this morning to learn of the loss of Kay Yow, the Hall of Famer, longtime North Carolina State women's basketball coach, who lost her more than 20-year battle with cancer this morning. She had won more than 700 games in her career, won an Olympic gold medal, a genuinely nice person, a very fine human being, and to all her friends and family, our thoughts and prayers go out. She was one of a kind.
Yeah, particularly to Debbie Yow, her sister, who's the athletics director at the University of Maryland. Our condolences there. And, you know, it's all about inspiration. If there's any word on Kay Yow's epitaph that should be highlighted, is that inspiration. She never let her illness get her down, and she absolutely showed everyone what it's like to be courageous.
Abby Weiner, you spent some time around Coach Yow.
All of women's college basketball. I know I speak for myself and my teammates when I say that our hearts go out to the NC State players, their program, and as well as Coach Yow's family and friends. And Len, you mentioned the inspiration that Coach Yow has been. It's been quite a thing to play against the NC State women's team and to see the inspiration that they play with for and because of Coach Yow. And I know that I speak for the rest of women's college basketball when I say that it's not only her team that plays for her, it's all the other players in women's college basketball as well that play for Coach Yow.
Abby, you're absolutely right. Thank you very much. Mosley trying to penetrate from Maryland. Milborn. Contact, no whistle, good, no call, and Milborn knocks it down, and Shire was on the floor. Half a dozen for Landon Milborn. Big stat of this game so far, the rebounding department, 24-19, and Len, as you pointed out, 12 offensive rebounds for Duke in this game. That has just devastated Maryland.
Oh, absolutely. Without those offensive rebounds and the putbacks, this is obviously a tighter game. Maryland now resorting to zone right now to, one, keep guys out of foul trouble, but that's not going to help the offensive rebound situation.
Thomas gets inside on the bounce pass from Zubek.
Nicely handled that 2-3 zone. Duke just moving the ball, went high-low, hit the short corner, just the way you draw it.
Vasquez cut off. Hayes had 2 looks at it, didn't want either one of them. Hayes again. He didn't want to shoot, and he traveled. When you're a guard who's got range like Hayes does, and you're presented with those opportunities, you got to take those shots.
Yeah, I mean, he had an open shot. He's probably looking for a better one. But I got a feeling, I think Eric Hayes has it right there. I think his foot was still on the ground. He raised up, and sometimes the fake is too good a fake.
Yeah, you're right.
You catch the officials as well.
Paulus. Singler, good hustle, can't save it. Thomas will come out. Nolan Smith comes back in for Maryland. Or for Duke, excuse me. The lead is 20 as we approach the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, this looks pretty similar to that Georgetown game. I was down in Orlando and witnessed that. In Georgetown at the time, far more aggressive. Same thing, offensive rebounding, using their size against Maryland, just as Duke is here.
Hayes out of the corner this time. Singler with a rebound. Milbourne trying to get it away from him from behind. And now Duke will take a little time off the clock.
And you can see there 10 less field goal attempts by Maryland, primarily because of the offensive rebounding as well as the turnovers.
Henderson got it. Good ball movement around that zone. 38-15. Henderson with 9 first-half points.
And boy, the frustration really setting in for Maryland right now.
Vasquez just lost his balance and went down, and Smith will draw the foul on Landon Milbourne.
And exemplifying that frustration, and more than once in that last exchange, as Gravis Vasquez thrown his hands up in frustration, you know, as if to say, what else can I do? You take a look right here, Vasquez frustrated, and you know, this body language tells the story.
Smith hits the free throw. Thomas will come in. Zubek will get a nice hand as he leaves. That's about as well as I can remember seeing Zubek play.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing with confidence. I mean, his numbers have gone down a bit once conference play has started, but he's making the most of his time. Hasn't been really involved in the offense prior to today. Just 9 field goal attempts in 4 games, averaging about 16 minutes a game. But today, his number was called against the smaller Turks.
Almost another steal. And Maryland just being eaten up by the defensive pressure. When you can tell Gary Williams is frustrated beyond belief.
Although I think a bit of realism set in, because Gary knows and has said in order to beat Duke here with the team that he has on the floor, they got to play an almost perfect game. If not perfect. And right now we can say that it's been a little less than perfect.
A little short of that. 40-15. Maryland is such an emotional team. One, because of Gary. It's a reflection of him. And because Vasquez is their leader. But when you rely on emotion and you're getting it handed to you, there's no emotion left.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, you play a game like this, if it's all about execution, it's all about being aggressive.
Well, this is your chance to be part of our interactive telecast and sound off about your favorite team, player, or topic of interest in college basketball. Go to ESPN.com, search college basketball sound off, upload your video, and it might be shown on our interactive Tuesday telecast during Boston College, Maryland, next Tuesday at 7:30 on ESPN2. Abby, we were just talking about the emotion here. Maryland is just about run out of it.
Well, you guys are exactly right about how emotion can either bring you up really high or bring you down really low. And as a freshman, I really used to struggle with that, with letting the emotions get the best of me. And actually, one of the men's players told me just to write next play on my shoes, so I could look down and remember that it's not about the last play and perhaps the last missed turnover or shot, but it's about the next play instead.
Although in college basketball, you can get up for every game. You're playing 30-some-odd games. You try to reach an emotional peak. On the next level in the NBA, you strive for that consistency where you're giving them the same thing night in, night out, because 82 games is much different.
Maryland could use a bucket going to the locker room, but they're not going to get it. Big first half for Duke on the boards, and the lowest point total in the first half this year, a mere 15 for the Terps. Join Dory Noka in the studio for the UPS halftime report. Welcome to college basketball on ESPN, presented by 5-Hour Energy and part of ESPNU's Campus Connection Week. Our ESPNU Campus Connection roving reporter, Maddie Burke, a Duke sophomore, went to K-ville for the inside scoop on reactions to a highly confident Gravis Vasquez.
Here in K-ville, the Cameron Crazies are in an uproar after hearing about Gravis Vasquez's comment that Cameron Indoor Stadium is in fact his house.
This is our house! Gravis Vasquez thinks this is his house?
This is our house, and we're gonna show him what Cameron Crazies are all about.
Who is Gravis Vasquez?
Where the kids camp out for 6 weeks and say that it's your house, it's not gonna go down in Cameron like that.
They should just stop talking trash and prove themselves in the court.
Well, what do you say? As long as you can back it up. Hadn't backed it up in the first half today.
Well, if this is Gravis Vasquez's house, I think the Duke Blue Devils have put a foreclosure sign on that house. And they have really outplayed Maryland in every phase. Maryland hasn't shot a free throw, 28% from the field, 12 turnovers. They average 14 on the season. And when you look at Duke on the other end, 4 of 10 from 3, 12 offensive rebounds, out-rebounded Maryland by 15. They're just dominating this game, and the score obviously proves that.
Last foul is going to be on Zubak, only his second.
Makes you really wonder what Gary Williams talked about in the locker room to try to get these guys on track. And I suspect all he could say was, hey, play harder and play without fear. You got nothing to lose now.
Maryland is the best free throw shooting team in the ACC, 7th best in the country, nearly 79%. Bowie misses the first, makes the second. First half, Maryland had 2 droughts, better than 10 minutes total, where they were 0 for 11 from the floor and had 9 turnovers. It was just devastating for them. Shire with a 3. Ahead to Hayes. Great hustle by Hayes.
I guess right now Maryland's got to play for pride and hope that that pride carries them to close this deficit. But if nothing else, they can at least say that they played a half of basketball.
Shire left all alone, in and out. Zubak had a rebound.
Another
strong enough, had it taken away, but they get it back to Smith, and he knocks it down. Those are devastating. You've got the ball, you lose it, somebody hits a wide open 3.
And that's been the story all afternoon for the Terps. They just haven't been able to match on the offensive glass.
Timeout on the court, 46-18. 46-18 Duke over Maryland. Abby Wayner, the star basketball player for the Blue Devils women's team, serving as our sideline reporter today. Abby, what did you learn at the half?
I spoke with Duke assistant coach Chris Collins coming out of the half, and he said that Duke talked about not letting up on the gas pedal like they have against teams such as Davidson and Xavier, that they want to make sure that they keep up their pressure, especially defensively.
All right, Abby, thank you. Landon Milbourne scores inside, coming out of the timeout. 8 points for Milbourne.
And Duke obviously take nothing away from them. They've come out here with effort, with an idea of what they had to do. They went to Zubak and other guys inside early. Then they go back to him again, and he delivered and set the tone with offensive rebounds, with points in the paint.
He knew he missed the shot, had good position against Neal, and scored. Zubak now with 9 points and 6 boards on the afternoon. Hayes leans into one, goes with the left hand, missed it badly. Shire all the way underneath, reverse, no. Zubak was there for the tip. Shire kicks it outside. When you look at the ACC, I think North Carolina is still by far the most talented team in this conference. But Duke is playing better basketball than anybody, and they're playing as a team.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. I saw Wake Forest the other day, and it might have been an anomaly simply because Virginia Tech seems to have their number,
right,
beating them 5 out of the last 6. But I would add Wake, except for that game, I'd add them to the mix. You talk about Carolina, you talk about Duke. Wake Forest, young and extremely talented, and maybe that loss to Virginia Tech was a wake-up call. And they've got Duke coming up here next week.
Yeah, they are a very, very good basketball team.
They got Duke coming to their place.
That should be fun, and that should be a big test because Wake, with that tremendous size, something that Duke obviously lacks.
Although they've got enough. Zubek at 7 feet, Singler at 6'8" across that line. That certainly helps them. And it
you
certainly
just
helps.
wonder in close games how many minutes is Zubek going to be able to give you.
All depends on how effective he is.
That's true.
I think he really determines how many minutes he gets.
Yeah, well, if he plays the way he did today, he's going to get a lot of minutes. Nice outlet to Henderson. Duke in cruise control right now at 53-20.
And they can afford to come out here and work on their half-court game.
Yep.
Maryland was kind of a 1-2-2 kind of a matchup a little bit. I don't know what they're doing here, but it doesn't seem to work.
Henderson buries another three. He has 14. Gary Williams calls another timeout. His team being run out of here, 56-20.
And you know the reason why he called the timeout? Too many wide open shots. It's one thing to be down the amount of points that they are, 36 points, but it's another to give up wide open shots. But again, talk about Brian Zubek. Duke went to him early and often, and he certainly delivered on the offensive glass, post-ups, as well as on the defensive end. He set the tone, and Duke hasn't backed down.
Well, Neal at 6'7", if Zubek is going to play well, Neal really doesn't have a chance defensively. And Zubek has put up 9 points, 9 boards, 3 assists, and 3 blocks.
And you're giving Neal 6'7", and that's a little generous.
Yeah. So that's just a hideous matchup for him. You would have loved to play against a guy 6'7" in the post, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
Just eat him alive.
Instead, I had to play against 7'4" and 7'2".
Right. That's right. He did pretty well anyway. Vasquez double team. Shire kicks it out to Henderson. Lobs to Singler.
And see, this is what burns Gary, I think. The fact that they're getting beat down the floor. You're getting beaten this bad by 38 points, and then to have Duke beat you down the floor. Once again, look at this. Only one guy back.
It's a rout, 60-20.
Dari Noka in the studio updating a game you can find on ESPN360.com. Villanova at South Florida. Dante Cunningham giving the Wildcats a 2-point lead right out of the break. 7-0 run to start the second half for Villanova. Don't forget, coming up next year on ESPN, Iowa State hosting Kansas. Craig Brackens, 18-8, what he averages for the Cyclones. Perhaps a little Hilton magic coming up next. Mike?
All right, Dari, thanks very much. Maryland was already down, and Duke starts the second half on a 20-5 run.
You see those intrepid Terp fans going where angels fear to tread. In the belly of the beast, and they get eaten up.
Yeah, the beast is winning today.
But on that last Duke fast break, again, other guys ultimately filtered into the paint, but on a fast break transition situation, one guy back initially. When you're down this much, that's what drives the coach crazy. It's one thing to get beat, but another thing to get beat without putting forth the effort. But right now, I guess that last timeout gave them a little boost, or at least a couple guys.
A nice reversal in scores. And during the last timeout, you know, Gary Williams not yelling at anybody, no fire. It's just a teaching moment. It's okay, guys, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do that. And that's the thing you have to admire about coaches. They're looking for anything they can do to inspire their team, and they're the largest home wins against Maryland. This one may go down in the record book. Shire buries another three. 63-23. Are you kidding? Steal, Nolan Smith. Blocked. Henderson. Well, just when you think it's not going to get worse, it does. Foul on Vasquez, and now the crowd on him, and there is no answer from the Venezuelan today.
Well, it was just a poor combination to begin with. Inability to score, particularly in the half court. Giving up the ball on turnovers, allowing Duke to get in transition, letting Duke dominate you on the offensive glass. You know, that's a formula for disaster, and I think Maryland right now got to call a state of emergency.
Henderson gets a huge hand as he gets a breather. McClure checks in. Thomas is also in. Vasquez, little one-on-one action against McClure. Can't score. McClure with a rebound.
Nice thought, an aggressive play, but a little too late.
If you're Duke right now, you're up by 41 points. How do you possibly maintain your intensity?
You look over at the bench at Mike Krzyzewski.
McClure, who rarely looks to take a shot.
And when you look at Coach K and you consider the consequences if you don't.
How about that? McClure. Shot clock running down, had to shoot it, made it. Only averages 2.3 points a game.
It shows that everybody's in the act.
Nice cut down the lane by Mosley, but he can't finish.
Even point-blank range shots Maryland's missing right now.
Great cut by Smith. And here come the Terps. Vasquez, they've got numbers. Milborn pulls up, nearly threw it away. Maryland did not execute that very well. Good matchup here for Vasquez against Shire. Leans into it. That was blocked partially by Singler.
I think one of the other reasons that Maryland gets frustrated, and they shouldn't, because you got enough guys here who've had experience in this place. Early in the game, there were times they thought they got fouled, no call, wound up a half without any free throws, and that has a tendency for lesser players to have them lose their confidence, lose their aggressiveness, and kind of give up.
A foul on Thomas.
When you come here, you got to play through all of that.
Well, they haven't played through much today. Check in with Abby Weiner. Abby?
Well, guys, you can't help but wonder if Maryland and one Gravis Vasquez has learned their lesson about offending Duke and their pride that they take in our house. It was 3 seasons ago, prior to the upcoming Maryland game, that the Duke men's players all signed in Sharpie their signatures at center court on the Duke D. The result of that game, Duke won 96-88. Although it looks like this one is well on its way to be worse than that.
Yeah, the only thing I would say to that, though, Abby, is if Duke needed to hear Gravis Vasquez to play hard, then something's wrong. I think this is a team that's a team of destiny. They've got an opportunity to be a Final Four team, and every team that's in their way, they need to play hard. That's the character of this team. They don't have a singular dominant player, although Henderson and Singler are starting to emerge. But I think Gravis Vasquez just needs to understand that you can do your talking after the game is over. But if that's what he needs to get him up, fine, but I don't see him up. That's the problem.
Yeah. Len, when you look at this Duke team, do you see a Final Four caliber team?
I think that if they play together as this team, they get Shire back on the beam as they seem to have. Zubek continues to improve and gives them a post presence. Depending on the matchups, yeah, I can see them getting there. I mean, look at them now. They're on the verge of being 18-1 and maybe #1 in the nation, which I'm assuming they will be on Monday. I mean, any of the teams that have touched #1 this season have the capability of being a Final Four team. And throughout the season, so I suspect that'll be about 7 or 8 teams.
Just as soon as I start to think somebody might be the #1 team, they get knocked off.
Well, that's going to happen. That's why I say 7 or 8 teams will have resided in that big house at the top. And they all realize, though, it's a snapshot.
Yeah.
It's where you are today. The last one standing is the one that has made all the adjustments and done what they needed to do.
Miles Plumlee in the game for the first time, a young man with a lot of talent who really hasn't had any outstanding games yet. They think he's got a tremendous amount of potential. More college basketball comes your way tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN. A Big East battle. #3 UConn taking on #19 Notre Dame. It's Saturday night primetime presented by DirecTV, part of ESPNU's Campus Connection. Plumlee is one of those guys who has looked great in practice, then they put him in a game, and it's almost like the stage is just a little bit bigger than he wants at this moment, but he'll catch up.
I mean, there are outstanding young players in the nation right now who can come in and make the adjustment right away. But one word for Plumlee, freshman. That's really what it comes down to. And it's a cumulative process. The more time he gets, the better he starts to make the adjustment as to on the floor and translate that practice game into game time game.
Thomas has 7. He joined us late. The score is correct. 68-24. Milborn with a jump shot over Thomas. It has been a devastating performance by Duke. Maryland has not done anything well.
And we'll go back to one of the points I made earlier, snapshot. Maryland, this is who they are today, particularly against Duke, getting out rebounded 41-16. But I'll tell you what, February 25th, Duke has to come to Comcast Center.
Yep.
And maybe this will be a different Maryland team.
Well, I just saw John Madry just handed me the stat on the rebounds. 41-16, that's unbelievable. Thomas, nice dish. Plumlee, too strong.
Well, you expected Duke to have some sort of advantage because of their size and the fact that they're rebounding so well. But you're right, that's ridiculous. And one of the reasons is, again, fundamentally, Maryland as a small team, they don't have the luxury of being able to turn and go get it.
No.
You've got to put a body on someone, and all too often, Duke has guys breaking to the offensive glass unimpeded, without anybody touching them.
Mosley with the last basket for Maryland. Nice runner by Paulus. Paulus with 4 off the bench. Back the other way with Mosley. Vasquez is back and he commits the foul. That's going to be intentional as Elliott Williams scored. You have to wonder what Vasquez is thinking there. He just reached out and grabbed him.
Well, I tell you what, the reason why that intentional foul was called, I think, is because he got that second arm around him. One hand right there was a foul. The 2 hands, intentional.
Looking at Jin-Soo Kim, the first South Korean athlete ever to earn a Division I basketball scholarship. Born in Seoul, South Korea, played for the under-19 South Korean team and went to high school in South Kent, Connecticut.
Well, we've seen the college game go global. Obviously, we've had European players, Latin American players, African players. But it's truly made that almost 360-degree reach to get to Seoul, South Korea.
Young man with some skills, still needs to put on some weight at 6'8", 195. And at the free throw line is Williams after the intentional foul. You just have to wonder what Vasquez was thinking at the end of that play. Obviously not much.
Well, again, if you're going to foul him, just the one reach and go after the ball would have been enough to stop him. And I know he probably thought that he didn't want to hurt him, wanted to grab him to keep him from falling because Williams is going at full speed. But sometimes discretion's got to be the better part. You let him go. I don't think that score would have made a heck of a lot of difference in the score, ultimate score.
Paul is too strong. And Kim with a miss out of the corner. And the Crazies will not miss an opportunity to get on him. Check in with Abby Weiner. Abby, what do you have?
Well, Len, you touched earlier on the fact that it doesn't take much to inspire a Duke team like this. And I watched them practice the other day, and I was trying to figure out what was quite different about it from years past. And it seems as though Coach K is almost a little bit more diplomatic with this team. I spoke to one of the players about it, and they said that he's really emphasizing the fact that this is a veteran team, whereas in the past they've had more freshmen and sophomore. And this year he said he wants them to be more like men instead of him having to be like a worried mother at times, and that he expects them to be able to motivate and inspire themselves.
He's always so big on leadership.
What is that?
Tie up outside, no call, go inside.
I can't believe they don't want to say that. And Abby's absolutely right when it comes to the way Mike is approaching this. He's always been a master, as you say, leadership and psychology. And more times than not, he hits the nail on the head. And he's right. A veteran team, these guys know what they're up against. These guys know how to motivate themselves.
Shot clock is at 2. Still a chance to catch and shoot. Henderson was looking inside. Williams took a little too long to get it off. Shot clock violation. You got to be aware of how long 2 seconds is if you're the guy getting the inbounds pass. Foul away from the ball will be on Plumlee, the freshman out of Warsaw, Indiana, whose brother has also committed to Duke. And the family moved to North Carolina.
I would say that's a commitment.
Yes. The last foul was on Elliott Williams, his 3rd. Kim works his way in, had it blocked by Plumlee.
Could have been a goaltending right there, but as I said, not a whole lot's making a difference here. We've seen guys grabbing each other. We've seen a lot of body contact and very few calls.
Very difficult to officiate a game that's 71-29. The NBA on ABC continues tomorrow afternoon with the doubleheader. Coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern with the GMC NBA countdown. 1 o'clock Mavericks Celtics. 3 o'clock Spurs take on the Lakers. If you're an official, you're like anybody else. You'd like to see the clock run right now. No whistles. Let's just all get out of here and go home.
But if you're an official, you also want to be like these players. Remember we talked about what motivates Duke to continue to play hard, looking over at Coach K, knowing that they're essentially playing for playing time. I think these officials sometimes have to recognize that, you know, despite the score, you call what you see because you're officiating for moving up the ladder, so to speak. And you're right, it's difficult. I'm not going to take anything away from the situation here. But, you know, sometimes even the guys on the floor, even if they're off the bench, they deserve the benefit of the doubt that this is still a game.
And I'm not saying they're going through the motions either. I'm just saying they're human beings and it's tougher to do. Kim asked for Mosley to come to him. Still 9:06 to go in this game. This will be a devastating loss for Maryland as they have just been overwhelmed here at Cameron Indoor.
Well, they just can't buy a basket. I mean, that's the biggest thing. A lot of that has to do with the Duke pressure. If you take a look at the largest margin of victory over Maryland heretofore.
Well, even if they could buy a basket, they didn't bring enough cash with them. They're down 71-29. Finally into the 30s at the 8:52 mark as Milborn hits a jump shot. You mentioned getting playing time. I think for a guy like Plumlee right now is a very, very important time. It gives him a chance to get comfortable, a chance to make a couple of plays and build his confidence.
Yeah, and there are a number of guys out on the floor in a similar situation. And going back for the last time to the officiating, that's why they continue to officiate the game as if it was a close game situation. Let these guys play, give them the benefit of the doubt that it's meaningful to them as well.
Oleg Chiz will come in for the first time for Duke. Greg Potsus is also in. Chiz, Polish-born. Grew up in Reno, Nevada. Williams goes baseline, had it rejected. Nice block by Gregory. Milborn keeps it alive. Maryland shooting 28% for the day. 3-on-2, good ball movement. Williams, good block and great play by Mosley. What instincts.
Was he walking on air? Because he touched the ball. It looked like he was out of bounds. Oh, man.
That is some athletic and instinctive play. Paulus got it. Greg Paulus with 7. Good time for him to boost his confidence as well.
As I said, guys are playing for playing time. I'm sure they're getting graded regardless of the score on effort and production.
Well, the effort to production, everything has been there. And it's 74-33.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later. And in part by Infinity, luxury cars that inspire at every turn.
Hi, I'm Sam Newman here for ESPN News Campus Connection Week at Cyclone Alley at Hilton Coliseum in Ames, Iowa. Join us after the Maryland-Duke game to see the Cyclones get a big test as they take on the defending national champs, the Kansas Jayhawks. That's coming up next.
Mike Krzyzewski's huddle breaking up and trying to inspire the troops on as they lead by 41 with 7 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Yogi Berra once famously said it's never over till it's over. Well, Yogi obviously said that before he saw this game. This game was over early. Maryland with such tremendous success over the years at Cameron Indoor Stadium, where only Duke or only North Carolina, the only other team that could really come in here and consistently threaten the Blue Devils, but not today.
And that's the key on a consistent basis. Maryland had that window of opportunity. Right now they're obviously shorthanded, not really with the skill and talent that they've had in past years. And today, for a period of time, not even with the same effort that they've had. It's another goaltender. That's twice now. Ball on the downward flight or hitting the backboard. But you know what? No doubt about that one.
No, there wasn't. Williams gets the jam on a baseline drive. Interesting, we haven't seen Vasquez at all. Bowie is continuing to play, as is Hayes.
Well, I think Gary Williams recognizes that, you know, it's a losing proposition, and I emphasize losing. Grievous Vasquez fourth in the conference in minutes played. This is now an opportunity for him to get some rest and for Gary to play some guys who don't get as many minutes.
I think the capper may have been the intentional foul he committed on that breakaway.
Yeah. It's time to sit and gain some perspective, particularly if you're the team leader.
Potsus backs out, takes a 3 and misses it. Mosley got his own rebound. Feeds loaded to 3. Milborn. Milborn has been their most consistent offensive player today. The guards have done very, very little. Chiz lost it on the way in. Our thoughts and prayers go out to the family and the extended Duke family for Bill Werber, who passed away on Thursday at the age of 100. He was Duke's first All-American basketball player under Eddie Cameron, but the way he made a living was in the American League. A .271 hitter in baseball, led the league in steals 3 times. He played with the likes of Ruth, Gehrig, Fox, and Lefty Grove in stints with the Yankees and the Red Sox. In the 40 World Series, he hit .370 as he played third base for the Cincinnati Reds.
Boy, 100 years old. God bless him. It's amazing. Duke has a way of having those dual All-Americans, basketball and baseball.
Dick Grote.
Absolutely. One of my favorite people was a broadcaster for University of Pittsburgh men's basketball.
Yep.
See him often.
Just a quality human being, and what a wonderful player he was. I remember him with the old Pirates.
I thought you were going to say you remember Bill Werber too, Mike.
I do not. I do not, Len, but thanks for mentioning it.
And I'm probably older than you now.
Now you just look older. Under 5 minutes to go. Williams goes baseline, fouled on the way in by Bowie. Williams, a freshman out of Memphis, Tennessee.
Well, as this game winds down, I'll tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed, a potential colleague, Abby Weiner. Great job, Abby, giving us the insight in Duke basketball as well as insights of a player. I know you enjoyed it too.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, it was a great time. I talked to Coach P before, and she goes, Abby, just like I tell you during games, slow down.
That's all right. Well, it's a lesson well learned. And an English major at that, huh?
Yes.
No, I knew there was something I liked about her.
You too, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
That's the only thing. Law school was the only thing I could do with her, so.
Yeah, I can't say I necessarily want to be a teacher, so.
Well, there's always opening that English store.
I don't know, maybe an opening a sideline reporter or better here at the network or family of networks.
Plumlee.
No, I'm not trying to be her agent.
That's a good idea. You'd be a wonderful agent. Of course you are.
I was going to say, I got to worry about my own stuff.
Friend request would be Michelle Obama.
Learn as if you are going to live forever, live as if you are going to die tomorrow. Quote from John Wooden. And words to live by.
Absolutely. Just remember to go 2.7 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu. Plumlee with the steal. Plumlee nearly got the tip.
And that's a perfect example. Once again, there was so much room between Plumlee and the guy guarding him. No block out, no nothing from Maryland. And they got to know better. I bet you they'll talk about it between now and their next game.
Dari Noka in studio updating Villanova, South Florida. Stan Heath's Bulls thinking upset at home. Dwayne Anderson, though, for Nova, who has yet to lose to an unranked team this season. Nova up by 1 in the second. It's on ESPN360.com. Sharon Collins, Big 12's second leading scorer, getting set to take on Iowa State. That game is next, guys.
We have only 3 minutes and 50 seconds to go in this game. Outside of Milborn, who has 19 points for Maryland, the next highest scorer is Neal with 5. Vasquez, who came in leading them in points, rebounds, and assists, has only 4 points on the entire ball game, and Maryland has just been swamped by the second-ranked Blue Devils.
Yeah, the defense has really picked up, and it really started after the Michigan loss. And since that time, Duke has only allowed 58 points per game, 6 of the last 9, and now 7 of the last 10 have scored less than 60 points. And in conference play, Duke is only allowing 53 points, 38% from the field, 27% from beyond the arc. And those numbers are only going to get better after today's game.
Yes, they will. Dupree backing in, tries the jump hook, comes up short.
And that's a young man who had plenty of promise. He's got the body. I think mentally he is just cooked right now. He needs to be able to break through, understand that you got to play with a lot of courage, a lot of aggressiveness, and just keep at it. It's all about perseverance. And I know right now he's down. He shot an air ball. Can't let that affect the rest of your game. As Abby said before, put on your sneakers, next play, especially in this situation.
He's certainly put together at 6'8" and 260.
Yeah, I mean, he can get position anytime he wants. The question is, how bad does he want it?
Mike Krzyzewski completely clearing his bench. He's got Steve Johnson, number 51, in there. Williams with a runner down the lane. 82-41, Duke doubling up Maryland. Bowie with a runner, had it blocked by Plumlee.
Again, this game came down to right at the beginning. Duke playing to its advantage, going inside to Zubek, hitting the offensive glass, and playing swarming defense. But the other side of it is Maryland just not executing fundamentally, allowing too many offensive rebounds, not able to connect with shots, even wide open shots. And their leader, Grievous Vasquez, just didn't seem as though he came to play today after all that talk.
That's for sure. Steve Goins will go to the free throw line. 6'10" freshman. Hope you'll stay with us for more college basketball coming up next. Kansas and Iowa State, so don't go anywhere. Right here on the family of networks, you'll see that one. Goins is out of Chicago. Loose ball rebound and the bucket. That was Cliff Turner, or Tucker, excuse me. Double team on Williams, and Duke will call a timeout at the 2:15 mark.
Actually quite a surprise with that double and full court pressure. You know, that may be something that Maryland may look at going forward and trying to jumpstart this team with some effort and excitement.
Well, certainly you think you would see a lot more of that, as small as they are and as good as Maryland's defense has been over the years under Gary Williams. Here's what Duke is looking at. Wednesday, of course, they will face the team that is currently #1. Wake will probably fall to 4th or 5th in the new poll, and Duke should be elevated to #1. Then Virginia, then at #9 Clemson, Miami, which is not a soft touch, and then the game that everybody always waits for, North Carolina and Duke on February 11th. Another showdown in the ACC.
Well, in retrospect, this game for Duke is a quality tune-up, getting everybody an opportunity to come in here, get some game time, playing at game speed. Just increases their depth.
Kim down on the floor, battling with Potsus. Gary Williams has to be happy to see that. You know, some fire in the belly right now with only 2:04 to go in the game. They were out-hustled early.
You talk about the nature of the global expansion of the game of basketball. Kim from Korea, Potsus from Lithuania. Get out here playing for the school.
Got, of course, Vasquez from Venezuela. Potsus too strong.
And I say
rebound goes to David Pearman.
I say playing for the school because normally you see that on a national basis, playing for the national team.
Yeah. Offensive foul on Goins. And they're starting to chant #1, which certainly they will be when the new poll comes out. The only undefeated team left in the Atlantic Coast Conference. They will go to 5-0 after this one. Maryland will fall to 2-3. be a pleasant ride back to College Park.
I suspect that rumbling noise you hear is starting the engine on that bus to the airport. I know they want to get out of here and forget this game as quickly as they can.
And that's probably the best way to do it, because you have been manhandled in every department.
Yeah, burn the video.
Yeah.
Recycle the DVD.
Williams drains the three as the shot clock winds down. And a little insult to injury at the end. Bowie with a runner. Kim trying to get in the scorebook with a miss. That's it, a huge win for Maryland. $85-44, a statement game for the Duke Blue Devils. The final score, 85-44 from Durham. For more on our game, join us on ESPN News. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Len Elmore and our entire crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching, everybody. Let's go to Darinoka.
All right, wow. Mike, we can only hope this next game is a little bit closer. Kansas and Iowa State coming up from Hilton and Ames. A little Hilton magic, perhaps. Greg Brackett's third in the Big 12 and scoring 18.1 points a game. Tom Brennan along with me. I'm Darinoka. I guess we have a new #1 coach.
Turned them every way but loose, didn't they? My goodness,
Man.
what a beating that was. You know, I've been on the end of many of those in my day. I'm not proud of it necessarily, but Lenny talked about it a little bit. You just really got to put this one away. You put it away. It's an aberration for the most part. Obviously, Duke is the #1 team in the country, but, you know, you throw away the tape and you go get yourself ready for whoever comes next.
And the beauty of college basketball, and Len alluded to this too, you never know what's going to happen next.